We decided to organize this event to celebrate what had happened and also engage in conversation with some of our colleagues to think about what next. It's very much a team effort. The main team of the pilot is the lecturers, so there were 7 lecturers who delivered the training to over 500 students. And so from my point of view, yes, there is the teacher training toolkit, but really it's the people who deliver it who are responsible for what happens in the classroom. And even today, despite the conversation I've had with the lecturers, I'm still finding out more about what happened. So about really the lived experiences of the toolkit, and it's really, really inspiring. The key aspects of the conference is to reflect together about what next. But we're talking about integrating the teacher training, so the multilingual education training, at least for non-degree students at the University of the Gambia. I should start saying the University of the Gambia, the University of Education, sorry, of the Gambia, but when the pilot started, it was still Gambia College. But the idea would be to continue offering it to some of the non-degree students and longer term possibly to degree students. My final message, and it's very much inspired by by what's happening today. Yes, what we're doing is is a challenge. It's not it's not necessarily straightforward to start embracing all the languages spoken by students in the classroom. But what I'm getting from today, from listening to my colleagues, is that it's a worthwhile challenge to try to overcome. So I'm hoping, I'm really wishing all the best to my colleagues in the Gambia in terms of the next phases of of this project.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
My name is Jane Abassad. I serve as the country director for the NGO Future in Our Hands, the Gambia. I'm here at the invitation of Dr. Clyde and her team to witness the launch of the multilingual pilot program in the Gambia. I think this is a welcome event because we who are actors in the education sector, specifically providing teacher training, in-service teacher training services, we really welcome this initiative because over the years, while we have really made a lot of strides in terms of teacher training, improving literacy through reading and writing skills in English, we have really faced challenges in having teachers to teach children in their native tongues. So to have a program that has been researched over years by language experts to come up with a toolkit that will really help teachers and teacher trainers to develop the ability to be able to teach our children in our local language, I think it's a huge stride, and it definitely should be supported and welcomed by every actor in this sector. Being in the business of education, I have seen a lot of improvement over the years. Of course, we still are dealing with a lot of challenges. We've really realized a lot when it comes to access to education. In a lot of our communities now, children do not have to walk more than 2 kilometers to school. Of course, that doesn't mean we have covered the whole country, but I think a lot has improved over the years. We have also seen a great improvement in enrollment and retention of girls in school. However, over the years, we've also seen a decline in the enrollment and retention of boys. So I think that's an area that really we need to work together to see how we bring up. Also, in terms of quality of education, I think we still, while there have been many efforts, including my organization and other partners, in terms of intervening in efforts that should improve quality, we know that there are still challenges and bottlenecks that we need to overcome to get where we want to be as a country. We are thankful to have people in this country because if you observe, this is really led by a lot of Gambian experts. So we are proud to have people with such expertise to develop something as important as this multilingual toolkit. So I urge everybody who can to support this effort, and just generally to support education in this country as a pillar for development.
My name is Lamin Jaju. I work at the Gambia National Commission for UNESCO in the Programs Department. First of all, I would like to thank the University of the Gambia, University of Education, the Gambia, UEG, for this initiative where they piloted multilingual education. I think it is about time that the Gambia implements, multilingual education in its education system. We know the 2016 to 2030 education policy makes provision for bilingual education. What that means, bilingual means two, language education. But the initiative of making it more than two now makes it multilingual. And I am aware that the midterm review of the current education policy has tried to cater for that to that adjustment, where we'll move away from bilingual education to multilingual education. So it is a welcome development that the teacher training institution, formerly Gambia College and now University of Education, the Gambia, is trying to incorporate it in its teacher training component. So it is a welcome development. So I am very impressed with the outcome of the pilot that has happened, where in the education setting, students have been trained, or tested on the different aspects of multilingual education. The results are very revealing, and not only that, but they are also encouraging, because we know at least majority of Gambians can speak at least two languages. So if you operate in a Gambian classroom, you will see that your students have different language backgrounds. So using that in your classroom caters to equity in the classroom. And this is also one component that the education system is trying to advance, equity in education. So it is a very welcome development for the University of Education, the Gambia, to go in this light of multilingual education training. As far as teachers are concerned, we operate both at pre-service and in-service level. Let us remember that we are rendering service to our own people, Gambian people, in the education system. So we should always approach it with a sense of fairness, with a sense that we want to have everybody on an equal pedestal, so that we treat all the languages as important. Of course, some languages are kind of have majority speakers than others, but that does not negate the importance or the equality of importance of every language, because language is the soul of culture. For every culture to try to persist, you need to keep the language. So that is why it is important for us to encourage multilingualism in our classroom, so that we can cater for language as a cultural heritage upkeep. This can happen.
I am Mr. Michael Hamadi Seka, a retired Curriculum Research Evaluation and Development Directorate Officer, but currently contracted at the University of Education of the Gambia, formerly the Gambia College, and lecturing English and research. But I was also fortunate enough to be part and parcel of those piloting this multilingualism in preparation to be used for Gambian schools. The motive behind this multilingual project is to see how best we can change you can change the pedagogy, or what we call paradigm shift. So all along, we have been using English language to teach various subjects, and to explain these concepts is normally a problem. Now, when you conduct a research, you must pilot it. That's why we are now piloting multilingualism to be used as a pedagogy in teaching in Gambian schools. After this workshop, we will also organize another workshop whereby we will try to disseminate information. So the pilot, we are yet to write the report. When we write the report, then now we invite people again and we disseminate information. So normally when you carry out a research, you must disseminate information. Then after, we are going to roll it out to the Gambian schools. We are going to have first of all TOT, that is training of trainers. We are going to train teachers on how to use this multilingualism as a pedagogy. Then after, when you come up with a pedagogy, you must come up with teaching and learning instructional materials. Then later on, we look at the toolkit and see how best we can develop them and then make them very reader friendly and accessible. But the main point is to roll this down to the schools, in the primary schools first, then the upper basic school and the senior schools. For the upcoming teachers, the advice I have for them is to hold on to this very seriously, very tenaciously. You know, as a teacher, you must you must aim at making sure that your children understands what you teach him. But a child cannot understand if he is not taught in his first language. You must meet some challenges. But the moment now you use the national languages or the language of the learner will be able to understand it. Now, if we look at other concepts, like let's say in maths, about Pythagoras theorem, how can a child understand that concept? It will be difficult to explain what we mean by the cosine, the sine, and the tangent. So you see, the young teachers should make sure that they use this, they are serious with this, and they use this as a pedagogy. If they do it, it will be very helpful. So if you look at the word multi, like multi-purpose, multifaceted, multi means more than one. So therefore, how best can you use the languages of the children to teach them so that they understand?
My name is Ibrahim Abba from the Gambia College, a lecturer. The multilingual education was piloted at the Gambia College, where we introduced the multilingual education toolkit and a resource bank, and then it has a flipped educational model. This has been a successful pilot. The pilot was for a one term. Over 500 students were involved in different classes, and then over 7 lecturers were also engaging the students in this pilot project. And then now we are at the end of the pilot project, where we needed to give feedback on how the pilot went, what experience we had, and some of the hurdles that we had in the pilot. So actually, multilingual education has been something that traditionally people will say it exists in the Gambia. People will talk about it, that when you are teaching, you apply multilingual, but having a course that guide you and that give you the pedagogy, that give you the synopsis on how to go by teaching it, is not only knowing that it exists, but teaching is something that you have to have a better understanding on how to go about it. And then that was what we were doing. So the model is such a way that the material is developed, books are developed, and then it is done in a flipped mode, that you can access the materials online, and then you can interact with the videos, with the charts, and all other relevant books that are in the resource bank. Then when you come to class, is more of an interactive session. The lecturer just facilitate the learning with a open discussion, and then the students already have a greater understanding of what the material is, then they can also throw up their light, their group work, and then share experience on this. So that was the genesis of the multilingual education at the Gambia College. Now we have, today is actually the reporting, we call it the multilingual education conference, that, bring different stakeholders, from the ministry, from other private institutions, UNICEF, Teen Equal, and other institutions, just to see that, that this multilingual education is shared. As we said always, that, children learn best, when they use their L1, that is their first language. So that is what we are rolling. So essentially, if the pilot report at the end of the discussion, indicates that there is a relevant of rolling the course, then we will incorporate this course into the curriculum. That is, the English department will look at how to synergize this course into the curriculum, and then have it, taught in all levels. That is the advanced diploma. In the future, the University of Education will also incorporate it into the language courses, where it will be looked at as a language course, because of its relevance. As we know, it is part of the integration process. So we are looking at ways in which it have effect or impact on policy, and then the life and livelihood of our young learners, the foundation, that is the basic, that is from the ECD most likely to primary 3. But of now, it is primary 1 to primary 3 that are looked at in the module. So these are the teachers that are trained on this multilingual education. How can they use, you know, different languages in their classroom? How can they support children to learn and feel, inclusive in the classroom? Not only ranking English language as the most important language and then forcing them to learn through English, but even the bilingual language, if we have one student that is in the class, should have the opportunity to share his or her knowledge, in the classroom using that particular language. So as we know, language is dynamic, and children can offer their experiences. The moment a child is able to talk and share their ideas, meaning education is happening. The moment the children are only listening, then passive learning happens. They will learn, but the learning will not be active. But active learning will happen if they are fully engaged. And for them to be fully engaged, that means, allowing that dynamic, using the multilingual, resources and education in the classroom will go a long way in helping them to develop their skills, develop their knowledge, in times of learning. We want stakeholders to understand the value of our languages. Let me just not say national language, because Gambia we are selecting 7, and then in multilingual we are talking about every individual who is affected in that class has one language. So that language should be supported, and then, so we want stakeholders to support the growth and development of these young learners in respective of their background, their language, their ethnic, or so on. Because if they are allowed to use their language, that support their moral, they value their culture, they value their language, they value the background that they come from. But if we restrict our language to monolingual, that is just restricting our languages or our classroom into just one language, children sometimes feel demotivated, because it's like you are compelling them to leave their surrounding and then inherit another language. So that sometimes bring the conflict of interest, and you see silent learners. So here we want active learners, we learners with their voice, that they can share, they can. So actually our essential motive is to share the finding, to share our experience, and then let educators understand the importance of using the multi-language in the classroom. Gone are days where when you speak your own language in the classroom to express yourself, then you are giving what you call a symbol. But now, you can express yourself with your own language, supported by the teacher, by the student, and then others. We don't see, the wrong when a child speaks their own language. Sometimes off the past, when you speak fuller language in a class, children will begin to laugh, like if you don't understand English. Okay, but this will help now children to navigate through the understanding of their own language is as vital as the English language. Their language is as important as the French language, as any other language. you know so they can offer the language internationally, they can offer the language nationally in our offices. Sometimes you go to an office, you speak in Pular, they feel offended that that you should speak English. Traditionally in your own country where you can speak your own language, people understand you. People feel that it is an offense for you to go to an office and then speak what particular language. So this tradition we want to sensitize, advocate for, and then educate people. So that is the essence of sharing the knowledge. Thank you.